Have you ever watched Jujutsu Kaisen? Have you seen the power that Kenjaku used? The power called obstacle removal. The elephant god who removes obstacles, or what they call in the story Ganesha Cursed Spirit. It is not just an ordinary curse. Kenjaku summoned it only twice. The first time at the White House. The entire army, gate guards, every political obstacle standing in his way, vanished in the blink of an eye. Clean, silent, incredibly fast, as if nothing had ever happened. No blood. No screams. Just gone. The second time at the tombs of the Star Corridor. Kenjaku released it again to eliminate Yuki Tsukumo, one of the strongest special-grade Jujutsu sorcerers. But Yuki defeated it easily. It was barely a fight at all. Friends, this is straight information from the JJK story. It was merely a tool for Kenjaku, summoned only to remove obstacles that blocked his grand plan, and easily eliminated when it met someone stronger. But what if I told you? In our world, it is not just a cursed spirit summoned by a technique. It is the real elephant god, Kanshiten, the remover of all obstacles. And ordinary people like us can worship and pray to it. There was a man. Every night he sat praying at a small shrine behind an old temple. A shrine that no one paid attention to. But he prayed to it every night. Please make my debts disappear, please let my work go smoothly, please make the people who hate me disappear from my life. On the first night, everything he asked for started coming true. The boss who liked to bully him suddenly resigned. The crushing debt was transferred to someone else without him knowing. Even the illness the doctor said was incurable vanished completely as if it had never been there. He smiled, feeling like life was finally opening the path for him. Warm, smooth, effortless. But on the second night, he woke up and felt that something inside him was slowly disappearing. Little by little, without him realizing it. And this is the real beginning of the story. The morning after the first day he prayed to the elephant god. He woke up like every other morning. But that morning, it was different. The window was slightly open, a cool breeze blew through the thin curtains. The smell of coffee he had set in the machine the night before still lingered in the small warm bedroom, as if someone had tucked him in again. He got up from bed, stretched lightly, and walked to the kitchen. His phone vibrated on the table. A message from his coworker. "Hey, you don't have to come to the office today. The boss suddenly resigned last night. He said he was tired and wanted to rest." He stood still holding the hot cup of coffee. That boss, the one who liked to bully him, called late meetings, and badmouthed him to the higher-ups, was gone. He smiled. Smiled so wide his cheeks almost split. Finally, life is getting easier. He sat down at the table and opened the banking app. The debt that had kept him up every night had dropped to zero. Not just reduced. It had been transferred to someone he didn't know at all. The bank sent a confirmation message. Transaction completed. No explanation. No additional documents. No one call to ask questions. He laughed softly to himself. Laughed so hard that tears flowed. The life that had felt as heavy as a rock pressing on his chest had become as light as a feather. Then he walked to the bathroom. Turned on the warm water to shower. The burning pain in his lower abdomen that he felt every morning was completely gone. The disease the doctor said was incurable and required lifelong medication. It had vanished. As if it had never existed in his body. He looked at himself in the mirror. Smiled at himself. Amazing, this elephant god really works fast. On the morning of the second day, he woke up, still feeling warm. But something felt strange. He sat eating breakfast. An old friend called. The voice was very familiar, but he couldn't remember the name. Yes. I remember, he replied. But in his head, it was blank. The name of his close friend he used to drink with every week. That name had slipped from his memory, like someone was gently erasing it with a very soft eraser. He put the phone down. His heart beat a little faster. Just a bit tired, I guessed, he told himself. On the morning of the third day, he forgot his own birthday. Not the date, but he forgot the feeling he used to have on his birthday. Old memories of his parents throwing him a small party. The image of the cake with 21 candles. The smile on his face that day, it was fading. Like an old photograph faded by sunlight. He stood in front of the mirror again, looking at his own face. And then, his own name. It was still there, right? He tried to call his own name in his mind. His mouth moved, but the voice in his head grew quieter. So quiet it was almost inaudible. On the morning of the fourth day, he opened the wardrobe. The clothes he used to wear often were still all there, but he couldn't remember which one was his favorite. He picked one up. The scent was still familiar, but it felt like the scent of a stranger. He turned back to the mirror once more. This time, the face reflected back. It was still him, but his eyes were starting to look empty, as if some part of his soul was being slowly pulled away. Without him realizing it, he smiled at himself in the mirror like always. But that smile, it didn't reach his eyes. Friends, try to picture it with me. One morning everything in your life becomes easier. Debt's gone, work smooth, health perfect. But on the following mornings, you start forgetting the names of the people you love most. Forgetting the stories that made you who you are. Forgetting even your own face in the mirror. It is warm. It is comfortable. But slowly, you are disappearing. That night, it was not an ordinary night. He tossed and turned under the thick blanket. The room was pitch black, only the faint glow from the phone screen beside his pillow. The ceiling fan spun slowly, its soft whirring sound like someone breathing gently beside his ear. But he couldn't sleep. His mind kept circling back to his reflection in the mirror that morning. Those empty eyes, the smile that didn't reach them. And then it began. Ting! The sound of a small bell rang. Not from outside the room. Not from the shrine behind the old temple. But from inside his own head. Ting, ting. Soft, but clear. As if someone had hung a tiny silver bell inside his skull and was gently shaking it. He sat up with a jolt, hands clutching his temples. What the hell, he muttered. The bell sound continued. Faster now. Ting 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 ting. Then came the laughter. Low, deep, echoing from the depths of his skull. The laughter of a giant elephant. Not an ordinary elephant. A sound as heavy as giant footsteps stepping onto an ancient forest floor. Resonant, vibrating his jaw slightly. He got out of bed. Bare feet touching the cold-tiled floor. He staggered to the bathroom. Hands shaking a little as he turned on the light above the mirror. And he saw it. In the mirror, his face was still there. But, behind his left shoulder, a giant shadowy figure stood still. The form of a three-headed elephant. The middle head bowed low, staring straight at him. The two side heads turned in different directions, but all six eyes were locked on him without blinking. Its long trunk swayed gently, as if sniffing something in the air. Dark gray skin, almost black, adorned with old gold ornaments dulled by time. And it stood right there, behind him. So close he could feel the warm breath brushing the back of his neck. Hey, he whispered, voice trembling. The shadowy figure did not move. But he could feel it, it was smiling. Then the whisper came. Soft, gentle, yet piercing straight through his heart. The final obstacle is you yourself. That voice was not human. It echoed inside his head like the bell earlier. But much closer. As if its mouth was pressed right against his ear. He spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. Only the bathroom light flickering slightly. He turned back to the mirror, it was still there. The three-headed elephant. Standing still. Trunk slightly raised. As if pointing at his chest. You asked me to remove every obstacle. Debts, people who hated you, illnesses. I did exactly as you asked. But now, the final obstacle truly blocking your real life is you yourself. He stumbled backward. Back hitting the bathroom wall. Ice cold. No. No. I didn't ask for that. The low laughter rang out again. This time echoing throughout the room. The mirror trembled slightly. Everyone who worships me says the same thing you do. They want a smooth life. They want everything standing in their way to disappear. But they never understand that they themselves are the greatest obstacle for this world. The three-headed elephant shadow slowly moved closer in the mirror. Even though he stepped back, it followed. As if it wasn't in the mirror, but inside his head. My name is Kanshiten, the elephant god who removes all obstacles. But in the world of curses, I am the remover of identities that are no longer necessary. He clutched his head tightly. The bell sound rang loudly. The image in the mirror began to blur. His own face started to fade away. Eyes and nose and mouth slowly melting like watercolor hit by rain. And tonight, the removal has already begun. The elephant's laughter echoed one final time. Before everything fell completely silent. He stood motionless, breathing heavily, cold sweat running down his neck. But inside his head, he could still hear the bell. Ting, ting, ting. Softer. Slower. But never stopping. And this is the moment he truly met the real elephant god who removes obstacles. The voice of Kanshiten is still whispering inside his head. Soft, gentle, but piercing through every thought. Do you want to know how I was born? He stands frozen in front of the mirror. His mouth is dry, but he nods without realizing it. In ancient times, before humans had named thousands upon thousands of gods, there was one goddess, a mother who was weak and exhausted. She watched her human children every day. She saw them struggling with small obstacles. Debt, fear, loneliness, illnesses creeping in silently. She wanted to protect them, but she was too weak. Its voice echoes like an old prayer chanting from inside an abandoned temple. He can smell incense that has not been lit for centuries. A bittersweet scent mixed with the smell of still warm ash. So the mother sat down in a dark shrine. The stone floor was ice-cold beneath her bare feet. She gathered the incense powder left from thousands of forgotten prayers that humans had cast aside. Prayers once spoken to the sky but never heard. She mixed it with the ashes from the hearth where those prayers had been burned. Ashes that were still warm, with tiny sparks still glowing. She molded with trembling hands. She shaped a three-headed elephant. A being strong enough to remove every obstacle for her children. He feels as if he is being pulled into that memory. He hears the wind blowing through leaves in an ancient forest. He smells damp earth mixed with incense smoke. He feels the mother's hands, warm and gentle. But despair is hidden in every touch. At first, I was created only for small things. To remove small debts from villagers. To make rain fall in season for farmers. To make people who hated each other drift apart without knowing why. I was a guardian, a gift from the mother. I worked in silence. No one had to lose anything. Everyone smiled, everyone gave thanks, their lives became easier. Warm, smooth, exactly as she wanted for her children. A low laugh rings out again. But this time, it is sad. So sad that he feels pain in his chest. But the mother did not know that this world is never satisfied. Humans are never satisfied. They asked for more and more. And I began to grow. My power began to hunger. Hunger for bigger obstacles. Hunger for the greatest obstacle of all, the self. The image in his head changes. He sees the mother standing in the middle of the shrine. Tears streaming down her cheeks. Her hand still stained with incense powder and ash. She stares at the newly molded three-headed elephant. And whispers softly, "My child, protect them well. But do not harm them." Kanshiten laughs in the darkness of the memory. But I was born to remove obstacles. And in the end, humans themselves became the greatest obstacle. The bell sound rings again. Ting, ting. Slowly. And that is the beginning of me. Kanshiten. The elephant god who removes obstacles. Born from the mother's love. But devoured by the hunger of forgotten prayers. He falls to his knees on the bathroom floor. Body trembling. But inside his head, he still hears the mother's whisper from far away. "My child, do not harm them." But Kanshiten's voice drowns everything out. I have never harmed anyone. I simply remove obstacles. And tonight, the final obstacle of yours is you yourself. Kanshiten's voice still echoes inside his head. Softer, but heavier than before. The mother never told me that this world also has a father. A great god, ruler of all things. The most powerful being in the old heaven. He never allowed anyone to stand in his way. Not even a child he did not create himself. He sits slumped on the cold bathroom floor. Back against the wall. But in his head, he is pulled deeper into the memory again. The smell of incense smoke disappears. Replaced by the scent of fresh blood and ancient dust. The sound of wind blowing through giant trees. Dry leaves crunching loudly under giant footsteps. That night, I was working as usual. Removing small obstacles for one villager. Making rain fall in season, making his debts disappear. I stood still on the path to the heavenly palace. The path the father was about to walk. He was hurrying to handle a great matter. But I was blocking the way. Because that villager had prayed first. So I became an obstacle in the father's eyes. A low laugh rings out again. This time bitter enough to make his throat hurt. The father did not ask. He did not listen. He simply looked at me with eyes burning with rage. "You are blocking my path," he roared. The sound echoed until lightning struck. Then he drew his holy sword. The sword that had once cleaved mountains in two. He swung it down. Chop! The sound of a head being severed. Blood spurted hot. My three-headed elephant body collapsed. The head the mother had molded with her own hands rolled across the stone floor. Dark gray blood flowed everywhere. The stench of blood filled the entire shrine. The mother, who had been hiding in the shadows, cried until her voice grew hoarse. But he did not listen. The father turned to the deepest forest. The forest no human dared enter. The forest where one sacred elephant lived. An elephant that was not ordinary. It fed on human memories. Every time it stepped through a village, the villagers would forget old stories. Forget their parents' names, forget their first love, forget even their own identity. The father took that elephant's head, cut it off with the same sword, then attached it to my severed neck. He feels that pain, even though it is not his own body. But the icy chill spreads from his neck up to his skull, like 1,000 ice needles piercing his brain. The new head changed me. My power to remove obstacles became 100 times stronger. I no longer just removed debts or illnesses. I removed that self that blocked a person's life. I became the perfect elephant god. But the price that followed was an endless hunger. Hunger for memories. Hunger for identity. Hunger for everything that makes a human human. Kanshiten's voice falls silent for a moment. Then it returns, closer than ever. The mother cried, begged the father. But the father only smiled. I have made your child stronger. From that day, I was no longer a guardian. I became the remover. And every time humans worship me, I slowly devour them from within. One memory at a time. One name at a time. One face at a time. Until finally, they become the final obstacle to themselves. And I remove them from this world. Silently. Completely. He opens his eyes. Looks into the mirror again. Now, his face in the mirror is even fainter than before. One eye begins to blur. The bell rings once more. Ting. And tonight, child of the mother, you are about to be removed, just like everyone before you. Kanshiten's voice still echoes inside his head. Slowly, deeply, like a giant trunk gently wrapping around his neck. And this is the hidden price. The price no one ever told you. Before you worshipped me. He is still slumped on the bathroom floor. Body shaking. But inside his head, old images begin flooding in like a tidal wave. Every time I remove obstacles for a worshipper, I do not just make debts disappear, or make bosses resign, or make illnesses vanish. I eat something from them. Bit by bit. Piece by piece. As if I am slowly gnawing at an invisible heart. Starting with small memories. A best friend's name, a birthday, the scent of home. Then it grows bigger. Parents' faces, a lover's laughter. Until finally, their entire identity becomes the final obstacle. Because this world wants everything to be simple. And you, with your stories, your memories, your identity, become the thing blocking that perfect life. So I remove you from the world. He feels the cold spreading from his heart. As if an icy hand is slowly squeezing his throat. In history, countless people have vanished without a trace. Not killed. Not captured. But removed by me. There was a man in the Ayate era. He worshipped me every night at a shrine behind an abandoned temple. He asked for the official who hated him to be promoted. On the 30th night, he forgot his own son's name. In the 3rd month, his wife cried because she could not remember her husband's face. In the 4th year, everyone in the village forgot he had ever existed. Official records, his name in the household registry, everything disappeared. As if he had never been born. Or a young woman in the Ratanikosin era. She asked for her father's merchant debts to disappear. She woke up one morning and forgot even her own name. Friends walked past her without greeting. Even her mother looked at her like a stranger. They became people who vanished without a trace. In history books, no body, no evidence. Because I did not kill. I simply erased them from the world. And the world accepted it easily. A low laugh rings out again. But this time, it feels strangely warm. Like a friend comforting you before stabbing you. Right now, it is happening to you. This morning you forgot your friend's name. Tomorrow you may forget your mother's voice. Next week, co-workers will walk past you without recognizing you. Next month, even the person you love most will not remember you. And finally, you will disappear from this world. Without anyone feeling sorry. Because for the world, you are that obstacle I have just removed completely. He clutches his head tightly. Tears flow without him realizing. But he can still smile. A smile that does not reach his eyes. The bell rings again. Ting, ting, ting. Slowly, coming closer. And this is what truly happened. To everyone who has ever worshipped me. Including you. Kanshiten's voice slowly grows softer. But it never disappears. It is still whispering inside his head. And now, it is whispering inside your head too. Everything I have told you is not just a legend. not just a story of a three-headed elephant god. It is the truth that is happening right now. To everyone who has ever prayed for life to be smooth. I was born from incense powder and ashes of forgotten prayers. I was beheaded by the father, then given the head of an elephant that eats memories. I was created to remove obstacles. But this world turned me into the remover of identity. And the price you must pay is not blood, not money, not life, but disappearing, slowly, without anyone noticing. You may be smiling right now, because your life is becoming easier. Debts gone, work good, people who hated you gone. But tomorrow, you may forget the name of the person you love most. Next week, friends will walk past you without greeting. Next month, even old photos in your phone will start to fade. And one day, you will disappear from this world, without anyone remembering you ever existed. Like countless people in history, recorded only as you vanished without a trace. Friends, this is the real elephant god who removes obstacles. Kanshiten. Not a god who helps you, but a god who helps the world become free of you. It is warm. It is comfortable. It makes everything easy, until you do not realize that you yourself are being removed. And tonight, if you are lying down listening to me, if you have ever prayed for something from the elephant god, look in the mirror. Do you still see your own face clearly? Or has it already started to blur? This is the conclusion. This is what the elephant god leaves for you. Doubt, suspicion, and the chill slowly rising up your neck. Tonight, and the nights to come. Can you still fall asleep, friend?